Welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany. I am a cut flower gardener in Garden Zone 6A in Hudson Valley, New York. Today I'm finishing up my seed starting series. So today I'm going to be planting seeds that need to be flower seeds specifically, that need to be started 4 to 6 weeks before my last frost date. So be sure to check out your last frost date and make sure to count backwards and make sure that this is within that window if you're hoping to plant any of the seeds I talk about today. So this is my little stack that I have from Johnny Seeds. I do have some from Flower as well. But really excited to get these planted up today because I'm already starting to transition some of my other seeds outdoors. So today I'll also be transitioning my snapdragons outside. I have some columbine and some other items that are just more cold hardy and like tolerant of a light frost. Again, it's like mid-April for me. A little bit behind. I had hoped to start these last week or the week before, but we had some sickness just like run through our house. So getting to it now and hoping for success. So this is what I'm planting this year in the 4 to 6 week window mark. So I'm going to be planting Amaranthus. I have a pretty good mix. I have a coral fountain, which is really pretty. I love the cascading effect of the fountain types. I also have emerald tassel, which just sounds like what it is. It literally looks like a tassel like dangling from an arrangement and just adds such a beautiful element. I'm also doing Amaranthus hot biscuits, which is a really beautiful like goldenrod golden color in the fall that I love to add to arrangements. And then Scabiosa is my next one. So Scabiosa adds such a beautiful like dainty layer. This one is a triple berry mix. I just wanted a really colorful palette for that. And then I'll also be planting out a apricot peach mix too within the Strawflower. I just absolutely love Strawflower. They dry so beautifully and are really stunning. And then I also picked up some more chamomile. So I'll probably do a whole pot of those, but I'm going to start them indoors under my grow lights. And then I also am going to start up some French marigolds today. This one's Bonanza Bee, which sounds beautiful. I'm going to pot up some basil too and get that growing ahead of the season. And then I actually am going to plant some zinnias. So normally I wait to direct seed them because I've always had success with direct seeding them, but I would like to get a little bit of a jump start with these specific ones. They're gorgeous. This is Precious Metal by Florette Farm. They're really stunning. They're such like a beautiful like peach and yellow and golden-y tones in there as well. So excited for that. I'm also going to be starting some Bells of Ireland, some more Dara, and then Persian cress. And I believe this is, yes, green pod nigella too, which just adds a nice texture to an arrangement. So I'll try to pop some photos throughout of what these floral flowers look like in case you are interested to grow them. But I'm really going to take it one by one and just get started. I have a mix of both, I believe like 4-inch pots with a watering tray underneath. And then I also have a mix of, I believe, a 72 cell tray. So I'll be working with both of those today. And then of course I've shared in my past videos, but I also have this wonderful Coast of Maine seed starting mix too that I'll be utilizing. So we'll go ahead and dive in shortly with that. I'm just going to go ahead and get the soil mixed up. I'm going to get my trays ready and then we can go ahead and take it one by one with each flower. I'm nice and mixed up here. I got the soil pretty damp to layer into my tray now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It is such a gorgeous day. It's literally in the 70s right now, which I feel like is ahead of the season. It's normally in April we stay around the 50s, but we've had just like a really nice spurt of warm weather, and it is going to unfortunately head back down. I believe tomorrow. I think we're getting like a thunderstorm that's rolling in that's going to shift the temps back down, but I'll take what I can get right now. The kids have been playing outside all morning. I'm just having a moment while Dad's inside making cookies with them. So enjoying this moment of peace to get these planted and getting ready to get my last batch of seeds under the lights inside. It's actually nice too because I'm freeing up some space today when I plant out my snapdragons. So I'll be freeing up the space under the lights for these babies to get tucked away for the next 4 to 6 weeks. I'm gonna really just layer this in. I love that I'm outside and not in my dining room for this video, so I can make as much of a mess as I want and I don't have to think about it. compared to my past videos that have been filmed in my dining room. While I did a good job corralling the mess with a tablecloth, this is definitely much easier to not even worry about it at all. All right. So I'm actually going to move these seeds out of the direct sunlight. It is pretty warm out and it's not the best way to store your seeds. So we're going to move them into the shade and then I'll get started here. So I believe I'm going to use these pots for the marigolds, and then I'm going to do my amaranth and things like that in here. So we'll take it one by one. Again, I have 3 different varieties of amaranth this year. So we'll take a look at the back of the seed packet together. I'll bring it in. So it does say to the support is necessary. They do get pretty heavy with the weight of the flower. And then, so 4 to 6 weeks before last frost, barely cover the seed and then bottom water or mist to avoid covering the seeds. So super important. I have a little sprayer that I use in the house. So I spray them every morning and then I bottom water probably every other day. But it does say to harden off and transplant them out after the last frost. So because they do love warmer weather. So unlike my snapdragons, these cannot handle the light frost that is ahead for the next few weeks. So they'll be safely tucked away indoors, like I said, for 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll transplant them out after my last frost date. But these are pretty simple. It says barely cover. So, and they are the tiniest seeds too. I'm actually going to bring you in so it's easier to see what I'm doing as I go. It definitely is a little dangerous to be planting outside right now with the wind that just kicked up. It was pretty quiet all day until literally this moment. So something I'm thinking about, but maybe I can kind of create a little bit of a barrier and still work through it. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start out again with my amaranth. This one is Coral Fountain. So I am going to go ahead and grab a label. I just used a popsicle stick and a Sharpie. It's worked out pretty well for me all season. All right, perfect. So that's in. And then this says barely cover. So just going to lightly add them in. I am going to do 2 seeds per cell to make sure we get some germination. I did have to, I think a couple times with some of my trays, kind of just go back in with a second layer after a week when I didn't see germination with some of the cells. So I can always do that here as well if I need to. But these are the tiniest seeds and they're actually pretty translucent too. They almost like blend right into your hand. So we'll take it one by one. And I'm just going to do 1 row with you all for each seed so you're not bored to death. I'm going to just go ahead and pick up 2 and place them right on top and just kind of gently press them down a little bit because I don't want them to get lost. They definitely need light to germinate. So I'm just going to definitely pat them down into the soil. And again, I'm doing 2 per. I just love amaranth. It's definitely one of my favorite cut flowers. Hard to pick favorites, but for me, it's definitely one of them. Just love the layer that it adds to an arrangement. It's so pretty. All right. So I'm just going to do, I think I'll do 1 row, or I'll do a couple rows. Actually, coral is really pretty. I was going to say I might leave the green. I love the emerald tassel because that's more of like a green tone. And I feel like you can use it in any arrangement. It's just really versatile. Whereas the coral, of course, is like a brighter pink coral color. So maybe not as versatile in arrangements. We'll go ahead and do 2. And again, after this, I'm going to, this whole tray, I will take my mister and just lightly spray over the top and let it fall down so I don't blow these seeds around because they are really tiny. So something to consider when you're go ahead and adding them in. I put like way too many there. All right. I'm going to put these back in. And we'll jump on to the next one. Okay, next I'm going to plant in my triple berry Scabiosa. This needs to be planted 1/4 inch deep. And then again, they like warmer weather. So I won't transplant these outside until after my last frost date, of course. So I'm just going to use the Sharpie and just kind of make a little indent so I can plant them in there and then just lightly cover them back up. I'll go ahead and go through that. I'm probably just going to do a couple rows of these because I believe these can also be direct seeded. So maybe I'll do a little bit of both where I direct seed and then also, plant them out. So again, I'm going to do 2 and then lightly cover them back up. These seeds are pretty large, which is nice. I feel like it's much easier to plant seeds when you can see them better. Also, when you're not just popping them on top, it's nice to cover them back up. So I'm gently picking them up, placing them in, and then we'll cover them back up and give them a good water in after. Awesome. Well, I don't want to bore you. Hi. Okay, so my next one I'm planting up is Strawflower. So with this one, it says do not cover seeds as light is required for germination, and then harden off and transplant out after danger last frost. You could also, it says that you can direct seed after last frost, but only where summers are long, and my summers are not long enough. I have tried to direct seed Strawflower before, and it's hit or miss for me if they actually make it to fruition before the end of the season. So I'm definitely going to give these ones a head start indoors under my grow lights. So again, it's super simple. This one just wants to be pretty much like sown on top of the soil. So we'll take a look and see what the seed size is. Very tiny. Okay, yeah, extremely small. So I'm just going to pick them up slowly one by one and add them in. And just kind of, I like to press them down in as well. So of course they're not like blowing away right now. I do have a little wind happening, but I'm not going inside today because it is beautiful out and it's been a very long, brutal winter. And I'm just so grateful to be in the sunshine right now and getting some vitamin D, especially like I said, before it shifts back to a little bit cooler over the next week or so. Right. So for this one, I am going to do 2 rows of each. I just really, really love Strawflower. I think it's such a beautiful flower to add to arrangements, but I also love that I can just dry them as well. I have a couple just Strawflower arrangements from last season that sit on my mantle, and they bring me so much joy when it's cold and dead of winter and they still look beautiful and have their color. They're really pretty, like papery flower. All right, really gonna pat that one down because it is windy. But again, I'll keep an eye on this. Whatever doesn't germinate in the next week or so, I will probably just come back through and add some more because I have plenty of seeds here. I'd rather thin them out than not have germination. So that's kind of my MO when I'm planting. So not going to bore you with the rest. I'm going to do another row here. Again, I have Strawflower. I think it's Cranberry Rose, which is a really beautiful color. And then I have an Apricot Peach Strawflower as well. Okay, so I'm going in. So in this tray specifically, I have Amaranth, I have Scabiosa, I have Strawflower, and now I'm just going in with some French Marigold Bonanza B. This one does want a 72 cell flat or preferred seedling container 46 weeks before transplanting out. And it says allow 8 weeks for flowering packs, lightly cover seed, keep soil moist until emergence, and then harden off and transplant out when danger of frost has passed. You can direct seed marigold. They're pretty easy to grow. You want to make sure it's after all danger of frost has passed in your area. And then it does say to sow 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just going to use these last 2 rows here for the marigolds. And then I did realize that some of the seeds I spoke to were ones that I actually want to direct seed into the garden. So I believe chamomile can be direct seeded as soon as soil can be worked. So I'll probably put that out Bells of Ireland. I actually realized that was supposed to be started 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm going to give it a shot. Dara, I am pretty able to just direct seed this as well, so I might do that. It does say that it can be direct sown in thinly in rows in early spring. It does say after last frost though, so we'll see about that one. I might just trial and scatter some seeds and see what happens. It's always a gamble. The temperatures have been pretty warm for me, but of course we do have some light frost ahead. And then let's see what this one was. Persian cress. It also says can be sown as soon as soil can be worked. Cover seeds with 1/4 inch and thin when first true leaves appear. If I do transplant, it does say to put in larger containers. So maybe I'll do a little bit of this Persian cress in these 4-inch pots. And then what else I have here? Nigella is a cold tolerant flower. So that one can be kind of direct seeded now. So I might give that a shot as well. Again, it's pretty mild coming up with a 2-week forecast that I saw. We have like one light frost coming up. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much all of them. And then this one here, that's what we're going to do here. So we have marigold. And then I do have some basil and zinnias that I'm going to put in these pots as well. So I'll put those here. So essentially the only other thing that I'm going to pot up is the zinnias and probably do a sample of some chamomile. And yeah, I'll take a stab at maybe a couple others of these in the pots. Like I said, the Persian cress as well. So I'm going to put those over here and we'll kind of work on that next. But I'm going to wrap up this tray with just the marigold. And then again, some of these I will just actually direct seed out in the garden as an experiment and report back later. We'll go ahead and add these. I love this. The seeds are large, easy to see, easy to work with. Again, I'm only doing 2 rows, but I'm going to plant 2 per cell. I'm just going to make a little indent for this because we are able to cover them back up. I haven't put too many marigolds in my garden. Normally they're just like a really bright, either orange or yellow. And while I love color, I don't know. I just haven't ever been a huge fan. Sometimes the stems are really short too. So for arrangements, which is really my MO when I'm looking for seeds to plant and flowers to grow, this has not been too much on the top of my list. These are very strange. They're like really long and lengthy. Kind of funny to plant because I don't want to like break them. Right? Okay, this one, this one. A bit of soil. All right. So I will probably direct seed the rest of these as the weather warms up, but right now I'm just going to handle these. All right, and we'll move on to the next. Oh, okay. I'm just going to give them a nice mist over the top to really water them in. But again, some of these seeds were so tiny that I just really want to not displace them. So I'm not going to spray directly at them. I'm just going to kind of spray overhead and let it fall over them. But most important, of course, as you're starting seeds is to just keep them moist. So every day I will go to them, you know, under the lights and just give them a good spray like this. And then I will also bottom water them too, which is super simple. You just remove this tray and add water to the bottom. Add about probably like 1 inch or 2 of water. And then I'll kind of check it every day. When it dries out, that's when I'll refresh it and add some more. So I'm just going to wrap up with these last few that I'm going to plant up in pots, but we have zinnias, again, the Persian cress, and then sweet Thai basil. So the basil likes to be planted 1/4 inch deep, so we'll go ahead and do that. I already made a little spacing with my Sharpie, and we'll take a look. Luckily, these seeds are a little bit larger. I'll go ahead and pop 2 in per cell. Basil is such a beautiful flower for arrangements. Obviously, it smells amazing, so like that's also helpful. But I really like to use it as greenery in my arrangements as well. No, thank you, Violet. No, thanks. No, thank you. No, thanks, Violet. My daughter just came outside with my husband, and she's joining the chaos. All right. Basil can easily be direct seeded as well, so I'll probably save a good amount for that. I like to put it in pots around this patio area. Actually, it's really easy to water and take care of in that regard. So this is all basil. I'm gonna do. I've decided to do half basil, half zinnia here, and then I'll do another tray with the chamomile and Persian cress. So this is also 1/4 inch, which is really easy. So I'm just making a small indent. 1/4 is not very deep. They just need to be covered. So we'll go ahead and add these. Luckily, zinnia seeds I'm familiar with. They're very large. And I will also be direct seeding a wide variety of zinnias this year. But this is just a little to get a little ahead of the season with this really beautiful color palette that I'm excited about. I usually just use my finger to plant it in, cover it back up. And these, again, I will thin out if more than one grows, which is why I'm planting 2 to make sure we have success here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and water them in. Okay, just wanted to wrap up and say thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in cut flower gardening. I have a lot more coming up. Definitely will be filming a direct seed video on what I seeded, but also sharing my success too with all the flowers that I grew from seed this year, what worked, what didn't. And then also some transplanting journeys, as well as a check-in for my winter sow method as well. So more to come in the future. Appreciate you being here, and see you in the next one.